Okay, so Halloween is thought to have evolved from the ancient Celtic holiday of Samhain, and modern Halloween has become less about literal ghosts and ghouls and more about costumes and candy. The Celts used the day to mark the end of the harvest season and the beginning of the winter, and it's also believed that the transition of the seasons was a bridge to the world of the dead. Over time, the holiday transitioned from a grave, dark ritual to a day of merriment, costumes, parades, and treats. Straddling the line between fall and winter, life and death, Halloween is a time of celebration and superstition. During the Celtic festival of Samhain, people would light bonfires to ward off ghosts and ghouls. The Celts celebrated the New Year on November 1st, and this day marked the end of summer and the harvest and the beginning of a dark, cold winter, a time of the year that was often associated with death. They believed that on the night before the New Year, the boundary between the worlds of the living and the dead became blurred. The night of October 31st, the ghosts of the dead returned to the earth. They believed that the ghosts would cause trouble and damage crops, as well as the presence of the spirits made it easier for priests to predict the future. To commemorate the event, Celtics would build huge bonfires and people gathered to burn crops and animal sacrifices to the spirits. During the celebration, the Celts wore costumes, typically consisting of animals and skins, and attempted to tell fortunes. The celebration of Halloween was in colonial New England because of Halloween was much more common in Maryland and southern colonies. As different European groups, as well as the American Indians meshed, a new American version of Halloween was created. Colonial Halloween festivals featured the tellings of ghost stories and mischief-making of all kinds. By the middle of the 19th century, Halloween was common but not yet celebrated everywhere. Taking from Irish and English traditions, Americans to dress up in costumes and go house to house asking for money, a practice that is now commonly known today as trick-or-treating. Between 1920 and 1950, the centuries-old practice of trick-or-treating was also revived. Trick-or-treating was a relatively inexpensive way for the whole community to take part in the Halloween celebration. In theory, families could also prevent tricks from being played on them by providing the neighborhood children with small treats. A new American tradition was born, and it has only continued to grow. It's estimated that Americans spend an estimated $6 million annually on Halloween, making it the country's second largest commercial holiday. The tradition of dressing in costume for Halloween has both Europe and Celtic roots. Hundreds of years ago, winter was an uncertain and frightening time, and food supplies often ran low, and for many people afraid of the dark, the short winter days were full of constant worry. On Halloween, when it was believed that the ghosts came back to Earth, people thought that they would encounter them if they left their homes. To avoid being recognized by ghosts, people would wear masks so that hopefully the spirits would think that would mistake them for their fellow spirits. Every October, carved pumpkins peer out from porches and doorsteps in the United States and other parts of the world. Gourd-like orange fruits inscribed with ghoulish faces illuminate many porches and are a sure sign of Halloween season. The practice of decorating jack-o'-lanterns, which is a name that comes from the Irish folktale about a man named Stingy Jack. According to the story, Stingy Jack invited the devil to have a drink with him, and true to his name, Stingy Jack didn't want to pay for his drink, so he convinced the devil to turn himself into a coin that Jack could use to buy their drinks. Once the devil did so, Jack put the money in his pocket next to a silver cross, which prevented the devil from turning back to his form. Jack eventually freed the devil under the condition that he would not bother Jack for 1 year, and if Jack was to die, he would not claim his soul. Soon after Jack died, legend says that God would not allow such an unsavory figure into heaven. The devil was still upset with Jack and kept his word not to keep his soul, but would not allow him into hell. Therefore, he sent Jack off into the dark night with only a burning coal to light his way. Jack put the coal in a carved-out turnip and has been roaming the earth ever since. The Irish began to refer to this ghostly figure as Jack of the Lantern, and then simply Jack-o'-lantern. In Ireland and Scotland, people began to make their own versions of jack-o'-lanterns by carving scary faces into turnips or potatoes and placing them into windows or near doors to frighten away Stingy Jack and other wandering evil spirits. In England, large beets are used. Immigrants from these countries brought the jack-o'-lantern tradition to where they soon found pumpkins, a fruit native to the country, and they discovered that these would make perfect jack-o'-lanterns. And that's it.